44 on Mission Valley Road, 1/8 mile east of 395, 1183, part-time number. There goes your fishing trip.
Yeah, any of them see it happen?
Almost all of them. I got their names.
Hey, Trav, I seen him right by me with a gun. I called to him like he didn't hear me, you know?
Did your young man walk up the street with a shotgun?
Well, I don't know. It looked ordinary, but by the time I began wondering about it, he had already walked down the street, went in there, and blam!
The story?
Yeah.
Get in touch with you later.
Hey, Carnera was fooling around with Sam's wife, huh? I mean, that's an unwritten line, Trav. A guy fooling around with another guy's wife is taking his chances?
Trav. Good luck. What, a piece of clothes?
That's all she had time to take off.
Where's she now?
Hospital. She got hit, too. Not bad, though.
Tried to kill her, too?
No, he only shot once. She caught a stray pellet.
Where's the weapon?
Carried it home with him. Just walked home and put it back on the rack.
Let's go take a look.
Standing down here when they came to arrest him.
Very neat man, huh?
Well, that's what everybody says. Neat, tidy, quiet, polite type of man. Stationery store proprietor who could never do this sort of thing. That's the gun.
Is this the letter?
Yeah, Jerry, the technical squad hasn't gotten here yet. Now, apparently, he opened it and read it, put it down, and went.
No, send it to him?
Not yet.
Right, check on it.
Right.
Dear Mr. Sand, this is from a friend. You might like to know your wife has been seen with a certain Mr. Tony Carnera. I was under the impression this man was your friend. If you were under the same impression, I would suggest you go to Mr. Carnera's apartment tomorrow night about 8 p.m. and talk to your wife.
Sam in there?
Uh-huh.
She coming in with it?
No. In shock. Jeez. Got this out of her shoulder. Then she opened up. Just one pellet. Just under the skin. I guess the boyfriend caught the rest, huh?
Yeah.
Who was it anyway, the boyfriend?
Anthony Canera. They'll be bringing the body in for an autopsy.
Here's your order, kid.
Canera. Used car deal?
Can we talk to her for a minute?
Just one of you, okay? She's suffering, Trav. Blames herself. I'm afraid she might try to hurt herself.
You got any coffee around here?
Yeah, right down the corridor.
No.
Nancy, you want to be better, don't you?
Yeah.
Mrs. Sand, I'm Travis Logan, District Attorney for Camino County. Your husband's been arrested now. You don't have to say anything to me. You're not required to make any statement at all, but...
Oh, you know he killed him, and now you're going to kill my husband.
He's going to have to be charged with it.
Please charge me. Please charge me. I'm the one who did it. I killed him, please. Please charge me. I was just restless.
What was that, Mrs. Sand?
Oh,
She said she was just restless. It's all right, honey. You're not the first. You're not going to be the last.
Mrs. Sand,
Go on. I think you better leave her alone.
Inside with your client.
I'm not sure he is my client. I'm not even sure he wants counsel. It's a funny situation.
What do you mean?
You better go talk to him. You'll see.
Sam? I'm Travis Logan, District Attorney. This is the Assistant District Attorney.
Yes, for heaven's sakes.
I'd like to ask you some questions, but I'm reluctant to unless you accept counsel.
Mr. Logan, I haven't done anything.
What do you mean?
I said I haven't done anything.
Mr. Sand, you're going to need an attorney. Now, if you don't want Mr. Bender, you can choose any...
Yes, all right.
All right, you mean you accept Mr. Bender?
Whatever.
Would you care for a cigarette?
Maybe later. Thank you.
Mr. Anthony Conera was killed this evening, and you were seen leaving the apartment.
I understand that. They told me. They told me, but Mr. Logan, I haven't been out of my house all evening. I never left my house.
We have witnesses.
I advise you, don't answer that.
Please.
As your counsel, sir...
Please, sir. Please. God. This is a bad dream. If you knew me, I couldn't hurt anyone. Any living thing.
And why the shotgun, Mr. Sand?
What?
The shotgun.
I'm a trap shooter, not a hunter. I don't believe I can even hurt a bird.
Sir, I advise against making any statement.
Please, can't we just clear this thing up? Tony Canera was my best friend, for gosh sakes. I worked for him. He even helped me get started in business in this town. He loaned me money.
Mr. Sand, please don't make any more statements.
How did I get here? I was in bed asleep, and they came and arrested me. Mr. Logan, I just want to go home. Lou will be getting back, and she'll be worried about me, my wife. She went bowling every Thursday. She'll be getting back, and I won't be there, and she'll just worry. Mr. Logan, I don't know what's happening.
My client is out of his head.
What makes you say that, Chuck?
Why? Because he's making statements that just don't make sense. He says he was in bed asleep when they came to arrest him. Now, we know that he was standing in his workshop fully dressed. He insists on things that no one in his right mind could possibly believe. Why? Because he does believe them. He's not in his right mind.
He owed Carnera money.
Sure, to get started in business. Are you going to maintain that as a sane, conscious motive? His wife, man. His wife in Carnera's apartment. He got a letter, he learned about it, he flipped out, that's all. Temporary insanity, and you know it.
I want it verified.
Okay, when? Now, come on, Trav, it's late at night. Let's not be cute.
All right. It'll be rain tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Then what he said, we both move off jointly and make a motion for psychiatric examination.
Yeah, good. Let's get it started.
I'll recommend Dr. Paul Reichardt to head up the psychiatric team, unless you feel he's too close to this office.
Oh, Paul will be fine. And when he reports back, you'll be ready to reduce the charge?
Maybe.
Listen, next time, do me a favor, will you? Keep it in my office hours, 9 to 5.
9 to 5. I think I'll work for him.
Let's get this whole thing cleared up, Mark. Take care of the papers, look into the relationship of Sand, his wife, and Carnera, and a letter. See what you can find out about that.
Fine.
What are you going to charge the man with?
Again, murder first degree.
First degree? I thought the whole point was that he couldn't help himself.
That's for the court to decide, not the district attorney.
The guy doesn't even know what he did. Trav, I thought the law was supposed to be merciful.
I think it will be. Ready?
Motor on into Charlestown Square.
It's not like suddenly I went wild like some people we know.
60 Minutes at the special time, 8:30 tonight.
Court is open. The record is open. I see District Attorney Logan for the people. I see Mr. Matthew Sand, represented
Sir?
by Attorney Charles Bender.
Sir, I have to say something. I have absolutely got to say something.
Now, Mr. Sand, this is just an arraignment, you see. This is just to hear the charges against you.
Nobody will let...
It's a preliminary procedure.
Nobody will let me say anything, sir. Ever since last night, I've been trying to explain...
Now, there'll be plenty of time for that, Mr. Sand. The law will protect your interests. Now, be guided by your attorney. Mr. Sand indicates assent. I'll read the complaint. Personally appeared before me...
Your Honor, the defense waives reading of the complaint. Why?
All right.
Your Honor, the defense admits that the accused is incapable of understanding or responding to the charge. I'd like to offer a joint statement made by the district attorney and myself in support.
Mm-hmm. All right. Accepted. Mr. Logan?
Your Honor, the people request the accused be bound over for psychiatric examination.
No, everyone is treating me like a fool. I don't want to be examined. I just want an opportunity to explain where I would... Don't you... No, nobody has asked for my view.
You had a recommendation, Mr. Logan.
That Dr. Reichardt be in charge, Your Honor.
So ordered. Court is closed. The record is closed. Bailiff, empty the room.
Everybody rise. For my view of excuse me, sir. Mr. Logan, listen, I don't think that this attorney is
I'll explain.
Because but what does that mean where it says that I'm not... I'm going to explain.
Hey, Trav. Anything routine?
Oh, yeah, pretty much so.
Everything looks all right from my end, too. Why don't you go fishing?
What about Carnera's papers? You find anything?
Yeah, they're in a mess, but I didn't find anything peculiar, and I haven't found anybody that's heard about him and Lucille Sand.
Somebody must have known. Somebody sent that letter.
Well, the police lab's working on that. Maybe we'll get something that way.
Maybe we could find the mark of the typewriter.
Trav, you have worked every weekend this year. Why don't you...
Jerry, I just want this tied up.
Trav, it practically is. You stick around here, we're liable to inherit some other disaster.
I know, except that, something bothers me.
What?
I don't know.
Trav, we don't get the psychiatrist's report for a week. Now, you go fishing, catch anchovies, whatever it is you catch, and I'll mount it for you.
Promise. You got it.
Please, I'm terrible. Could you move out of my way, please?
Can you tell us?
Please, I don't have any statement to make. All right, please, one moment. One statement, please. Mr. Logan. Mr. Logan. Excuse me.
Now, listen, fellas, that's enough. I said that's enough. I'll give the lady a break. Come on, give the lady a break now.
Thank you.
How are you?
Oh, I'm fine.
That's good. If I was you, I wouldn't talk to any of these reporters until you check with your husband's attorney.
I just wanted to apologize for last night in the hospital. I'm much better now.
Well, that's good. If you want to see your husband, I'll be very happy to take you to him.
Yes, I would. Why I have to be. But I don't know if he wants to see me.
Taken to a...
Excuse
Are you all right?
O'clock on your good music station and time for the news. So far, there have been no further developments in the Carnera Sand murder triangle. Dr. Paul...
Where do we start, Dr. Reichert? Oh? We'll have a great many of these conversations. We could start with your background, family background. Or we could start with your health in general. Health? Well, it's pretty good, I guess. I have a little colitis. I get colds. I got one last night. My wife says I'm a hypochondriac. Look, ask me anything. I want you to. I have to understand it. This thing that people say, they say that What?
These on the way back. Do you remember that straight pellet the doctor showed us that he took out of Mrs. Sands?
Yeah?
See if you remember which one it looked more like. This one or this one?
Well, I just glanced at it, but...
Large ones. That's right. Now, do you remember what Sand told us in the cell? That he never hunted, he was just a skeet shooter? Well, this is what you use for that. This is regulation number 9 skeet shot. But this is number 4. This is what you use to kill game. If you wanted to kill a man.
The biggest furniture opening sale Newcastle's ever seen is on now at Best Buy Furniture. Special, adults only time of 9:30.
You have no idea what you're up against.
We'll see. Disclosure, tonight on NBN.
You have to get me out of bed.
Oh, sorry about that, Mark, but I need you. Listen, if you want some coffee, Eve's here.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, look, supposing Sand wanted to commit this murder. But not because Carnera was having a relationship with his wife, some other motive.
Well, what other motive?
I don't know yet, but supposing he wanted to commit this murder, he has 2 choices. The first is traditional. Kill, or try to conceal it. Well, where would that leave him? I mean, he's a close friend of Carnera's, his best friend. Owed him money, was a former employee. That'd make him a prime suspect. All right, second choice. Contemporary murder, an up-to-date killing. Do it right out in the open, right in public, conceal nothing. But do it in such a way that you'd be able to take advantage of a woman. We have betrayed husband, killing on impulse, temporary insanity. Law would be merciful.
Are you saying that he set up this affair between his wife and Kidder?
No, I'm saying we don't even know if there was an affair.
Well, Sand got that letter.
Supposing he typed it himself. And then supposing he just picks up that shotgun, walks right down Main Street with it. Right in the open. Concealing nothing. Busts in on Carnera. Kills him. And to give himself the appearance of temporary insanity, he says the one thing that no sane man could ever say. He simply says, I haven't done anything. I haven't done anything. No foaming at the mouth, none of that. Just simply says, I haven't done anything.
Boy, I'll tell you, Trav, that's a pretty clever plan. I mean, nobody's that clever.
Supposing he is, and I fell for it.
Trav, all you did was to recommend a psychiatric examination.
And the head of the psychiatric team. Supposing he fools him.
Well, Dr. Reichert's a pretty hard man to fool.
But supposing he does. Then where am I? He has an opinion right on the record. Temporary insanity. And from where? The DA's own psychiatrist. This happens, you know what I did? Boxed myself in. And I helped a man commit legal murder.
You believe that?
I don't know. We're gonna find out. Mark, everything.
Trav, even if you find out everything, you're still in the box. I mean, Sand did it, and we've got to prove premeditation. We haven't got the time, and we haven't got the proof.
We just got a phone call from the police. They found a man ransacking Canera's apartment. They want to know whether or not to book him.
Canera's apartment? Do they know who it is?
It's Canera's son.
Hey, do I have a right to be here?
You have a right to be here.
Terrific. Thank you for the answer.
Mr. Carnera, you don't have a right to tamper with the evidence. So you can either tell me what you're doing here, or I can have you booked on suspicion. Now, what do you want?
All right, look. We never got along. I mean, ever since I was a kid. And lately, he's been hassling me to come back and take over the business. I wrote him last week. I didn't want any part of it.
And this is the letter the police found you with.
It's a letter. Go on, read it. I, say some things in there I wish I hadn't. Some pretty rough things. Family things that happened between him and me after my mother died. But, can't take him back now. Guess I loved him. But the thing is, I didn't want people like you, outsiders. I didn't want you messing around, right? I mean, he's got enough people saying enough bad things about him now.
Well, we're still investigating the case.
Why?
Some details need clearing up.
What details? Hey, my father's dead. You're gonna bring him back?
I'm not satisfied with the way he was killed.
You're not satisfied. You haul out every detail in that man's personal life and you shove it in the papers and you're not satisfied? What are you after? What? Tell me.
I was, in the apartment. And then, my husband, he broke in and, he first pointed the gun at me. And I thought, when I saw his face, that he was going to kill me, and I almost wish that he had. I'm sorry, I have to go.
Miss Sand, you said your husband owed Canara $5,000. Was Canara, using that on you?
Yes, he was. He said, you be good to me, and I'll be good to you. All I can do is stand by my husband now, and if you'll please excuse me. Would you stop it, please?
What is it, Doctor? I couldn't sleep last night either. Any night this week. Threw up. What is it?
Maybe the things you're trying to remember.
Nothing. Nothing. It's crazy that I could do a thing. Something I'd never do anyway, never. And then not remember. It's crazy.
Well, let's try again.
Lou went out. I was in. She'd gone. And I was there in the living room. And then I went down to the... No. There's something in the living room. And then... Oh, it's something right there, isn't it?
Something. What sort of thing?
To read. Something I'm gonna read.
Something you have an idea about before you...
Before I even read it. Yeah.
Letter?
Yeah.
What does it say?
Well... There were several letters. And then... I'm gonna be sick. I'm gonna be sick. Did I do it? Did
All right, Dan. All right. All right. Take it easy. Take it easy. It'll be all right. Huh? Just relax. Come on.
give you till 12 o'clock. That's half an hour. Then maybe you and I can have a little talk.
Of course. Hear me? Did you know that you hit me too? That I was in the hospital? You could have killed me. That wasn't supposed to happen.
You're all right. And it's all right.
Or ticket tape.
It was really good.
Second paragraph headed competence. The subject can distinguish norms of right and wrong behavior. He can now recall his act and can understand and discuss the charge against him. Opinion, he is competent to stand trial.
Hey, where do you think you're going, Trav?
Well, is there more?
More? It goes on for pages. I'm just reading the summary.
Well, the report clearly states the man is competent to stand trial. That's all that counts. Your Honor, if you don't mind, I'd like to get back to my office.
Mr. District Attorney, this is a conference with the assigned trial judge. Now, I've given up my lunch break, and we have things to decide.
Third and following paragraphs headed symptomatology. The subject presents an extremely constricted personality and so on and so on and so on.
Oh, why don't psychiatrists get to the point?
Opinion. The subject's violence toward the deceased was involuntary, impelled by emotions he could neither manage nor indeed recognize. His condition at that time is fully consistent with the legal plea of temporary insanity. Well, that's it from your psychiatrist. Now, what say the people?
Nothing right now, Jim.
Well, come on, Trav. It's an absolutely straight case. Temporary insanity, charge reduced to involuntary manslaughter, a directed verdict. We can get through trial in a day.
Your Honor, I would like just a little more time to go over this report and then get back to you.
Mr. Logan, we've got a course schedule that's so crowded you wouldn't believe. Now, if you see some reason it shouldn't go as Chuck suggests, I want to hear about it. And I want to hear about it without any further delay.
Yes, Your Honor. All I did was ask for a little more time, and now Bender's on his toes. He knows we're up to something. Judge Rose, he really laid it into me. He doesn't want any more delays.
All right. Call up. Make a deal with Bender, reduce the charges. If anything comes up before the trial, you can always re-indict.
No deal, Jerry.
No deal, Jerry. All right, Tramp. Suppose Sand is guilty of premeditation. Let's hear the evidence. I mean, physical evidence.
The only evidence we have is the size of the shotgun pellets.
Trav, that's going to last about 20 seconds in court.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Just a letter. Typed on an old machine, Mark and Staff are trying to track it down. And there's Lucille saying, there's something about her I don't believe. I don't buy it. She seems to enjoy talking to the reporter. She's covering up.
She's got a good chance to cover up. A wife is not required to testify. She won't, and you know it. So?
So what?
So call Bender and make a deal.
Hey, Jerry, I told you, no deal.
Excuse me, that was Mark. Can you come over to Canera's apartment?
This is a mess, an accountant's nightmare. I don't know if this means anything, but
sure.
All right, to begin with, Canera was in a lot better shape than you'd think he was. Adjusted gross income of over $90,000 last year, with which he was very careless and very generous. $15,000 to charities and another $12,000 in personal loans.
To Sam?
To everybody. In the last 5 years, there were over 14 different people.
Well, that's not helping me much.
All right, how about this? Most of these people, he didn't get a signed note of loan. With Sand, he did. That's the $5,000. That's 5 years ago.
Mark, all you can prove is...
There's more. There's more. It was income tax time. I think even Canera felt a little pinched, so he made a list of all of the amounts due him. Now, he started with the $5,000, which we know is Sand's. He drew little arrows to it. And beneath it, he would list the other names and the amounts. Until he got to this $17,000 loan. And then this $22,000 loan. He made a note to himself. Collect.
There are no names here.
No, but if these two later loans were to Sand, he was into Canara for over $44,000.
All right. Suppose you could prove that. You haven't, but suppose you could.
Motive to kill.
Right, but your problem is he already did kill Canara, and he's going to plead temporary insanity. Now, we're going to need a whole new set of reasons. We're going to have to prove he killed for those loans. We're going to have to prove premeditation. And we're going to have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. And there isn't any time.
Besides, that Sand might be innocent.
Just let me know which side you're going to be on, Trav.
I'm an officer of the court. I'm supposed to be on all sides. I got to make a decision. I can't without knowing. I got to find out why.
How are you going to?
You're going to get him to tell you. Let's look at Sands in an entirely different way. Let's say that he prepared this whole thing. Let's say he planned it. What kind of a man are we dealing with? We're dealing with a clever man. We're dealing with a man that's tough. We're dealing with a man that's brilliant. You can find your weak point and can use it right against you. Look at his attorney. Look at the psychiatrist. Bender and Reichart, they both believe me. Look at me. Found my weak point. I agreed to that psychiatric examination.
So?
Meet him on his own ground and find his weak point.
I'll try.
Let's just look at Sands as if he's an artist, right? A perfectionist. A man that committed a perfect crime. A man that's proud of it. Mark, you know what you have to do? You're going to have to work on his conceit. You work on his vanity. You break him down, and you work on it. And you find out the truth.
You want me to slip in there with it?
He's never seen you before.
Well, you know I won't be admissible in court. I mean, he can tell me from A to Z, and I won't be admissible evidence.
I don't want his evidence. I just want to know. I want to know.
Here we go. The executives wait for you, sweetie. Hold it. Get it all clear. All right, in there, Rick. You put me up. Hey!
Ain't no bueno. Huh? I was up in Modesto picking cards and they give me the short count. And I told them, I said, you watch no tails. Ain't it right? And they give me the short count. I hit that boy with a leg handle and I really shoot and I stomped and shoot out. Yeah? You better believe it. Yeah. Hey, you mother!
Yeah, they feed you all right up in Modesto. Guard. Hey, can I get moved to a different cell? Hey. Guard. Hey. Hey, you know what I'm trying to tell you. Look, you gotta know what you're doing. You gotta do things right. Look, I done everything. Believe me, I done everything. And I always get back out on the street. Look, you only done this one thing, and they're gonna lock you up for life. Well, they're gonna gas your tail. I mean, it's one or the other, ain't it? Huh?
There was this old haunted house up on the hill. Hey, listen, hey, come on. Look, this is a good story. Let me tell you about it. There's an old haunted house, and this guy goes up there at midnight, and he knocks on the door, and it's the way.
That's all you eat. You're gonna sit. I want to get some more.
Yes, I have it. Thank you very much. Goodbye. All right. I'm getting interested. Seems our Mr. Sands served only 14 months of a 2-year enlistment. He was discharged at convenience. I haven't got all the details yet. But he was attached to the 2,203rd Naval Hospital. You know what his job was? Clerk assistant in the psychiatric ward.
That's nice. Very nice.
If you want to kill somebody, there ain't no need to get caught at it. That's why you were so stupid. You let everybody see it. No guard. That's murder. Well, manslaughter. That's 20 years at least.
Look, will you just shut up?
That's 20 years for doing something because you did it the wrong way. They could even give you the cyanide, you know that? You believe that? Now, if you come to me, I could have told you how to do it. Right? You stupid! You think I needed somebody like you to tell me how? I'll be free and clear and back on the street while you're still sucking wind. Now shut your bloody mouth. Shut it! Gee, I need to hurt a guy's feelings, huh?
Most
you the driving edge.
The Sands lived right there, across the street. And Mr. Canero was always around there.
But what did you see, Mrs. Tice?
Well, on 2 occasions, evenings, I saw them parked together at the end of the street. Mrs. Sand and Canero. They seemed to be arguing. That is, she was talking and crying and holding on to him, holding his arms. Of course, I didn't linger.
But, Mrs. Tice, you stated that you told Mr. Sand about this, didn't you?
I tried to put it lightly, pleasantly, that he should keep his eye on those two. And he should have.
What was his answer?
He just went on mowing his lawn.
Mrs. Tice, how long before the killing did this happen?
Months. September, August. August.
What are you doing out? You're supposed to be in jail.
I was, but the man talked.
Talked?
Oh, yes, and he's your cookie, all right.
Well. It's all coming together. I just talked to the neighbor. You know what she told me? She warned Sand about his wife and Canera 2 months before the killing.
Well, that's premeditation. If he knew all along, if he didn't find out that night from that letter, you've got it.
We're going to need more than that. Chuck Bendy's a very good lawyer. So you got him to talk, huh?
Oh, yeah.
It's been a good day. Let's get some sleep. I'll see you in the morning. Mark. Thanks. Give me a gun, Canera.
No.
Come on now, give me the gun. I said, give me the gun. Come on now. Give it to me. George? George, you give it to me? I said, give me the gun. I ought to have you locked up.
Oh, boy. I couldn't have done anything anyway. I thought she ought to pay for what they did. I was like a little kid. I waited there and I waited there and... Oh, boy. I just couldn't do anything. I just couldn't do anything. I'm sorry.
Well, if it helps, I'm going to bring Sam to trial.
You're never going to convict him.
I'm going to try. Look, I know the law is slow and it's clumsy and at times it's unsatisfactory. But it's all we have. And it keeps us out of the jungle.
What about my father?
Well, in a sense, that's where I come in. I'm supposed to be his attorney. I'm supposed to get justice for him. But by the law, not by personal revenge. Hey, George, I'm going to try. And that's the best I can say, and that's the best I can do. I'm in it. I'm going to try.
The prosecution will offer an opening statement.
Yes, Your Honor. I'll try to keep it short. Anthony Conera is dead. The defendant has killed him and entered a plea of not guilty on grounds of temporary insanity. The plea is a fraud. Defendant is a fraud. This is a practical murder committed by a practical man, neatly designed to take advantage of the law and public sympathy. It was planned and carried out over months. Cold, cruel, and totally without mercy. We'll establish the defendant's motive. Now, he was heavily in debt to Anthony Conera with no way out until it occurred to him that murder was a way out. And we'll establish his method, how he trapped Anthony Conera, how he plotted his murder step by step to resemble a killing on impulse. He wasn't outraged by the relationship between Conera and his wife. Oh, no, he knew about it months before. We'll prove that. He wasn't shocked when he heard about it because, in fact, this was the key to the plan. He set it up. He promoted and encouraged a relationship between the deceased and his own wife. That's right. Between the deceased and his wife.
I hope to be even briefer than the district attorney. The one single issue in this trial is whether, in fact, at the time of the killing, Matthew Sand was temporarily insane. On this issue, the defense will offer, I hope, only one single witness. The only man qualified, really, to make that judgment. A forensic psychiatrist of long experience, a regular consultant to the district attorney's own office, an expert appointed by the court on the recommendation of the district attorney, impartial, beholden to no one, and whose judgment in this matter has already been accepted and gone on record.
Mark, what about the accountant? Anything on him or any of the out-of-town deposits?
Oh, nothing.
City dump?
A dusty bulldozer and a very unhappy policeman. That's it.
It looks so good in there. I thought you guys had lots of evidence.
Supporting it, but nothing to clinch it. We've got no proof, we've got no time, we've got no case.
What about Lucille Sand? How are we keeping tabs? She's uptight.
Mark, she's not the defendant.
Yeah, but she's as deeply involved in this as he is. And she's got to be thinking about that, wondering what we might get on her.
Well, even if we do get something on her, she still comes out the winner. As either defendant or defendant's wife, there's no way in the world we can make her testify.
That's right. If I get him on the stand, though, he's too good. He's too good. He won't crack. Gotta find his weakness. Gotta find his weakness. Maybe it's through her. I don't know. Maybe it's through her. Find it and just break them apart. Play one right against the other.
Good luck. You know, from my office, I can see down into his cell. Sometimes I catch him looking up at me. I keep thinking, he's laughing at us.
From your office?
From my office.
Did I say something wrong?
Introducing the new...
Home to Bosch.
He's handling the case I handed him.
Sand, I know you're brilliant, but he's a lawyer. You're not a lawyer.
He's a clown. And another thing, you stay away from reporters. You've done your bit. What?
Nothing. I just said, is there anything else you want me to do? I've followed all your instructions, and I want to know if you want me to do anything else.
Mrs. Sand? Yes. I'm Eve from Travis Logan's office. He was wondering if you had a few seconds.
Is Mr. Bender here?
No, he's not.
Well, I won't see Mr. Logan without Mr. Bender.
Oh, well, there's something that you ought to know.
What?
Mr. Logan thought it would be very important to you, personally.
Where is he?
This way.
Hello, Mrs. Sand. How nice of you to come by. Won't you please sit down? I'm sure by now you're aware of all your rights. You don't have to say anything to me. You don't have to say anything at all.
I know that.
You know, it occurred to me you might be wondering why you're not on trial for conspiracy to murder. And the reason is simple. I don't have a case against you. Not yet. Not yet, I don't. Not until your husband realizes I'm going to convict him.
How are you going to do that?
You'll see when I get him on that stand.
He doesn't have to testify.
No, you're right, he doesn't. Why wouldn't he, Mrs. Sand, unless he had something to hide? I mean, this is a very different kind of a case. If he tries to avoid it, the jury won't believe him. I'm sure your husband realizes that. He's an amazing man, your husband, Mrs. Sand. He's figured everything out. To the last detail except one. He's guilty and I know it. And when I start to prove it, he's going to look for a way out. And there's only one. Change his plea and implicate you. Mrs. Sand, I'm offering you something. If this doesn't happen during the course of the trial, it will after, when I convict him and he's in prison. Your husband will be facing the gas chamber, at best a lifetime in prison with no chance of parole. Except one. We'll have to exchange something. And that's you.
You're bluffing.
Am I? You're married to a murderer. You know him better than anybody. He can even drag you into the gas chamber with him. Now, what I'm offering you is a chance to tell me, but tell me now. Tell me first before he does. Or it's going to be too late.
Mr. Logan, you're an amazing man.
received the body for autopsy about 11:10 that night. I removed 133 shotgun pellets from the skull, neck, and chest.
133 pellets. Are these the pellets?
Yes.
Did you take special note of the size of the pellets?
Yes, I verified for your office that these are number 4 shot, hunting shot.
And have you learned that the defendant claimed not to be a hunter but a skeet shooter?
Yes, I did.
Would a skeet shot kill a man?
From close range, possible. Not certain.
Well, with these pellets, a number 4 shot, would they be certain?
I would say fairly certain.
Thank you.
Will the defense cross-examine?
Yes, Your Honor. Doctor, there's an inference here that the defendant, being only a skeet shooter, would have no use for number 4 shot except specifically for murder.
Well, that's your inference, sir, not mine.
Perhaps you'll help me dispose of it here and now. You're a member of the Sportsman's Club, I believe, a skeet shooter?
Yes.
You always exclusively use number 9 shot?
Only in competition. Shooting for pleasure, whatever's available. 7.5, 5.
Do you ever lend or give this other size shot to other shooters?
No, we have a custom, a table near the firing line. We pile spare shells there, and people take what's available.
All sizes of shot. 7.5, as you say, 5, 4?
Yes.
The man could easily or forgetfully carry this other size shell back home in his pocket.
Yes.
Have you, for example?
Yes.
No further questions.
The type is old-fashioned, and the S isn't as sharp as the rest of the letters. This is an old type wheel machine, Majestic. They stopped making this model in 1920.
A Majestic. That'll be all, Sergeant. Thank you.
No questions, Your Honor.
We had a Majestic typewriter. Our daughter used it for schoolwork. Then last June she graduated. We wanted to get her a new machine, so I took the old Majestic to Mr. Sand, and he allowed me $2 on it.
And Mr. Sand took the Majestic typewriter on trade?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Lane, did you type this letter to Mr. Sand?
No, sir.
Your daughter, perhaps?
I don't think so.
Well, are we supposed to believe that Mr. Sand typed it to himself?
All I said was we own a Majestic typewriter.
Just answer the question, Mr. Lane.
I don't know.
You had an old typewriter that you wanted to trade in on a new typewriter.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Sand is a stationer. He deals in typewriters, old and new.
Yes.
So you took it to the nearest store, which handles dozens of typewriters, and sold it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Do the people wish to redirect?
Your Honor, I would like to hold this witness and call another, if I may. Officer Irwin?
I sold it. I have a receipt to prove that. Tell them I sold it.
You do solemnly swear that the testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. This you do under penalty of perjury.
Yes, I do.
Identify yourself, please.
Officer Francis Irwin, badge 902.
And where have you just come from, Officer Irwin?
Well, under direction of the district attorney's office, the municipal dump.
And what were you doing there?
Digging. Just me and a bulldozer digging.
And can you describe for us what you have before you?
It's a Majestic typewriter, or a piece of one. I dug it up myself this morning. The dump is a landfill, and it was buried. And according to some of the newspapers buried around it, it must have been buried on or about November 2nd.
Your Honor, I offer this as evidence. I'll be all, officer. Thank you.
Cross-examined, Mr. Bender?
No questions at this time.
Your Honor, I recall Alfred Langdon. Stand, please. I place this majestic typewriter in front of you. Ask you to examine it. Now tell me if it could be the same typewriter that you sold to Mr. Sand.
Yes, sir, I believe it is.
Would you tell us why?
I see a deep scratch on the typewriter. I guess you call it the left rear corner. I always believed it looked like a profile. You know, a face. When you look at something, it suggests something.
You show me where?
Oh, right there, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Lane, let's try to put some things accurately. Now, this apparatus that Mr. Logan has paraded into court so dramatically is only a piece of a typewriter, a fragment, a squashed piece of a typewriter. Yes. Now then, starting on any corner that you choose, will you tell me how many scratches, rips, dents you can see? Just make a rough estimate.
Well, I would say on this side, about 13.
Would you say that that resembles a piece of a typewriter that has thoroughly been run over by a bulldozer?
Yes, sir.
Would you say that it might be expected to have scratches?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
But I still say, sir...
Thank you, Mr. Lane.
I'm at present chief of outpatient psychiatric services at Chicago's Granger Hospital. At that time, I was lieutenant senior grade on staff at the 2203rd Naval Hospital.
Dealing with mental patients?
Yes.
And were you acquainted with the defendant?
He served as clerk typist to myself and 2 other doctors.
What were his duties?
All the paperwork. He'd transcribe interview notes, sometimes the record of interviews themselves.
And would you say that the defendant had an opportunity to observe the behavior of mental patients?
Closely.
Would you say that the defendant was well-informed in psychiatric matters? I'll rephrase that. Would you say the defendant was knowledgeable? Was knowledgeable in psychiatric matters?
He had to be.
And is there any single case that you recall that interested Mr. Sand?
There was.
Relevance, Your Honor, relevance.
I'll allow this.
Respectfully, the defense notes the possibility of reversible error.
The judge will assume that risk. Go ahead.
There was a case of a chief petty officer, a patient with us, who killed a man who'd mistreated his sister. He was tried in civilian court. I testified in his behalf that the chief was unbalanced. He was remanded to a mental hospital and released a year later.
Excuse me? I mean the last part.
He was remanded to a mental hospital and released a year later. The case seemed to fascinate Sand. We had several conversations about it.
Would you say there's any striking resemblance between this case
Your
and
Honor.
that case?
I'll have to rule that out, Mr. Logan.
Thank you. No more questions. No more questions.
Defense?
No questions.
We will recess for noon.
Everybody rise.
I want to testify. I can refute these things.
Better not.
They're damaging me.
You can expect damage, but you'll survive it. All you have to worry about is proof, and that they don't have. Not the doctor or the typewriter.
I have a receipt. I told you. Now, why didn't you bring that up? I sold that typewriter October 27th. That was long
You
before
got the customer's name?
a cash sale.
I'll get it put in evidence.
Listen, I could describe the customer. I recall him very well.
Maybe too well. Mr. Sand, as long as you don't go on the stand, that jury can think you're as unbalanced as they like, and for our purpose, that's just fine.
Why didn't you bring it up in the first place? If I can prove...
Why don't you let me run your defense?
I want to talk to my wife. What'd you do last night?
What?
After you left. You know, Bender left. You left. Where'd you go?
I didn't go anywhere. I went home. Where should I go?
I was just curious. I'm caged up here. I don't get much news from the outside. People you might meet and talk to. You know, for example. You ever talk to Bender outside?
No, not much.
Other people? You ever talk to the judge?
Of course not.
Logan?
No. What's the matter with you? Ah.
You remember, we're in this together. Uh-huh. You're in it just as much as I am.
I know.
And you've got as much to lose.
Let go.
Okay.
I know it. Yes, okay.
He found that Sand deposited $17,000 in a Los Angeles bank account in his own name. Now, he made withdrawals. The account is now closed, but that is the $17,000 loan.
Can we prove it?
We have his application for the account and a dandy movie from the bank's security cap.
What about the third loan?
Not yet. Why don't you go ahead and hit him with this?
No.
It's good. Doesn't clinch anything, but it's good.
No, not yet. Not yet. I want to save that until after Rycott, and maybe I can push Sand into testifying and keep pressure on that wife of his.
Yes, I told Mr. Sand I'd see them together the way I've described. I said you should keep an eye on those two.
And when was this?
In mid-August, before the 20th. I remember because I
Then
always...
in mid-August, 2 months before the defendant allegedly was stunned and shattered to discover a relationship between the deceased and his own wife, you had specifically warned them about it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mrs. Tice, can you recall other times, other occasions when you brought things to Mr. Sand's attention? Let's say small, neighborly things.
Well, for a time they had a small white dog. He'd dig around my shrubs. I spoke about that.
Any other things?
Where they were parking their car and...
I see. Now, let's consider this occasion. What was Mr. Sand doing when you greeted him?
He was mowing his lawn with a rotary motor. It made a frightful din, and I'd spoken about that, too.
Well, but let me ask, did he shut off the motor to talk to you?
No.
Do you judge it possible, Mrs. Tice, that he thought you were once again coming to complain about the mower, or the dog, or the car, or heaven knows what this time?
But I wasn't.
Consider this possibility, Mrs. Tice. Can you swear that he heard you at all over the noise of that rotary motor? Thank you, Mrs. Tice. I think we have the picture.
At the door.
This day, 1, 2, 3 and out.
Look, I brought this stuff over because I knew if I didn't, you wouldn't eat dinner. Now, will you please just sit down and enjoy it? Are you going to open up your side tomorrow?
Open and close with a record.
Ah, but you have the accountant to show that Sam got that second loan.
Well, Sam will find a way to answer that.
But you'll have him on the stand. Isn't that what you've been wanting?
Yeah, at first I hope to get him on the stand under cross-examination, force him into saying something that might implicate his wife. Then shake her loose.
No, she doesn't seem very shaky to me.
No, she doesn't. She knows they're winning.
We've lost cases before.
But I lost this case, Eve. I mean, I did. Because I didn't want to prosecute a helpless man. I thought he was insane, and I suggested the psychiatric examination.
Come on, Trav. You're blaming yourself for trying to be a good guy.
Oh, it's got nothing to do with being a good guy. What about him? Anthony Conera. The man is dead and he's half forgotten. You know what people say? Anthony Conera, you mean the used car dealer? I found out a lot about him. You know, he was an honest man. He helped a lot of people out. He put his cars on the road, they didn't come back. They weren't junk. I mean, he guaranteed them, warranties, guarantees, good, and he never fooled around with another married woman other than Lucille Sand, if he did with her. Now, what about him?
You've given up hope?
No. Unless I get past Riker to Sand, past Sand to his wife, and legally I can't make her testify.
In any case, can a wife ever testify against her husband?
Not unless her life has been threatened.
The defendant could not deal with the confusion of everyday personal feelings. Jealousy and anger and all the rest. He tried to deal with life from a standpoint of childlike trust. When the world came crashing in on him with the unfaithfulness of his wife, it broke loose feelings he'd never learned to handle.
He could not help himself.
No better than a small child in an overpowering rage. He did what a child often wants to do. He killed. Then afterwards, he was horrified at himself. He dropped it out of memory, blocked it out.
Dr. Reichert, in the course of your examination, was the defendant able to recall what he'd actually done?
Yes, bit by bit. He does now.
Do you think he might be likely to do such a thing again?
Certainly not. I'd say the prospects of a useful life are quite good.
But the fact that he remembers now, that does not mean that at that time he was legally sane.
No.
Thank you. Your witness.
Dr. Riker. During the course of your examination of the defendant, did it occur to you he might be faking?
We can usually tell when people try that.
Are there no exceptions?
No. Well, unless a man is very clever, very sophisticated in psychiatric matters.
But the defendant was, and the defendant is.
Your Honor, is Mr. Logan asking questions or issuing conclusions?
Objection sustained.
Well, are you aware of the fact that the defendant served as an assistant in the psychiatric ward of a naval hospital?
I somehow got the impression that he'd been a patient there.
Somehow got the impression. From him?
Yes.
Are you aware of the facts brought forth during the course of this trial that the defendant plotted this murder?
No.
Are you aware of the facts brought forth during the course of this trial suggesting that the defendant promoted a relationship between the victim, Conera, and his own wife as an excuse for murder?
No.
All right, now, concerning this letter that he received, which supposedly prepared him into an act of murder, are you aware of the excellent possibility that he typed this letter to himself?
No.
All right, now, Doctor, had you known all these facts, had you known all these facts, is it possible that you would have conducted your examination in an entirely different manner?
It's possible.
No more questions.
Does the defense wish to redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Dr. Reichert, in how many past cases have you advised the court?
About 500 over the past 8 years.
And you have worked very closely with the district attorney?
Yes.
Who recommended that you be appointed in this case?
District attorney.
And in these 500 previous cases, has there ever been a time when the district attorney has questioned your competence?
No.
Dr. Reichert, taking into account all that we have heard, would you like to change your opinion in this case?
No. The defendant is a deeply disturbed man.
Thank you. Your Honor, the defense closes for now.
Your Honor, the people have a rebuttal witness. We ask leave to present him before the recess.
Very well.
Call Mr. Arthur Train, please.
I am Arthur James Train. I am a certified public accountant residing at 33 Live Oak Avenue in this city.
Could you describe your activities of the past month concerning this case, please?
On request of your office and Mr. Carnera's son, I conducted an audit of his estate.
What did you find, notably?
Notably that he was creditor to various individuals in personal loans, totaling almost $75,000 in the past 5 years.
How many loans?
16 separate loans to at least 14 different individuals.
Were you able to identify these individuals?
In all but 2 cases, 2 loans.
Well, these 2 loans, what were the... Can something be done about this?
Well, what's up, Mr. Logan?
Well, all during this case, the defendant's sitting there, he's drawing his circles, it's distracting. This testimony is vital to the state's case, Your Honor.
Maybe he's bored, Mr. Logan.
Well, maybe he's
Counsel for both sides. Mr. Logan, I will have order.
Your Honor, surely these can be considered private communications between a client and his lawyer?
Oh, come on, Bender. What is he communicating to you?
Take it easy, Trey.
You may proceed with your questioning, Mr. Logan, if you please.
Yes, Your Honor. All right, Mr. Train. What were the amounts of the 2 unidentified loans that you found on Mr. Carnera's records?
$17,000 and $22,000, respectively.
Of these 2 loans, what was the date of the first?
March 3rd of 1968.
Now, outside of Mr. Carnera's records, did you find anything that suggests the loan was made to the defendant?
On March 7th of that same year, Mr. Sand opened an account at the Los Angeles Oliverian Bank in the amount of $17,000.
Are you positive of that?
Oh, we have a photographic record from the bank's security camera.
Thank you, Mr. Train. Oh, Your Honor. May the record show that the defendant has stopped drawing his circles.
Voting tonight.
Explain it. I've got to testify. Look, I wanted to testify from the beginning, but you kept me from it.
In your own interest.
You let Logan pile it up on me, point by point. And I've kept telling you I can refute him point by point. Now, either you do it, or I know my rights. I'll discharge you, Bender. I'll put myself on the stand.
All right, you want to refute? We'll let you refute. I'll make the arrangements.
I told you never to say what we owed Canera.
I didn't. I only told them 5,000.
I told you never. Because he could find out about the others. And he did. And now I've got to explain that.
No, Sam. No, listen to me. You don't have to explain that. Don't you see that's exactly what he wants? He wants you to get up on the stand and testify. He told me that, Sam. Listen to me.
You talked to Logan? You told him about the loans? You made a deal with him?
No.
Just a little. And he'd put me away, and you'd get off scot-free.
No, I don't want to talk to you.
All right, I'll talk to you.
Please leave me alone. I'm very tired.
Your husband's going to testify. I told you he would.
He can deal with that.
You think so? I could even tell you what he's going to say about the 2 loans. You knew about the first, but you didn't know about the second. And he'll justify it. He'll be convincing. But what do you think he's going to say about the 3rd loan? That's right, I said the 3rd loan. You knew about it, didn't you?
You're just trying to scare me, Logan. And it isn't working. You're all played out. That's right, you can't convict him without me. And you can't get me. I don't have to testify. Now, please, get out of my way.
Sand, are you testifying at my request?
No, sir, I wanted to.
I have advised you all along against testifying. Now, will you tell us why?
Well, in the first place, you said I didn't have to, by law. And then you said that Mr. Logan, the district attorney, that he didn't have real evidence to convict me, and I should be satisfied with that.
Then why are you testifying now?
Because I'm not satisfied just not to be convicted. I have to go on living here, among these people. My wife has to go on living. And Mr. Logan has made me. Sorry.
That's all right.
Mr. Logan has made me look like a liar and a schemer, and I am not.
Mr. Sand, the prosecution has presented 3 main points that might be interpreted as evidence against you. Can we take these in order?
Yes.
Mr. Ling has testified that he sold you a Majestic typewriter. Now, there's absolutely no proof that the letter sent you was typed on this machine, but can you comment?
Yes, I remember Mr. Ling, just exactly as he said. He sold me that typewriter. I resold it several days later. I think it was 3 days later.
Your Honor, as evidence for the defense, a sales slip removed by me from Mr. Sand's business records. A sales slip dated October 27, a cash sale, a Majestic typewriter. Now, Mr. Sand, prosecution contends that a neighbor, a Mrs. Tice, spoke to you about your wife and Mr. Carnera. Therefore, you could not have been surprised to hear about the affair. Therefore, you could not have killed on impulse. Would you like to answer this?
Well, I don't know what to answer. Yes, I believe it. What they say that... If they say so, I believe them. I didn't pay attention. I trusted, and I loved my wife. I do love my wife. And he was my friend. I trusted. I'm sorry. Is there anything more?
At this point, I don't think so. Now, finally, we come to the matter of the loans.
I told him about that from the start.
You see, the prosecution is trying to imply that you only told them about the first loan, the $5,000 loan, concealing the others.
No, I never said how much. Nobody ever asked me.
But you see, your wife, Mrs. Sand, in a published newspaper interview, only mentioned the first loan. I quote, "We owed Carnera $5,000. Do you think your wife was correctly quoted?
Yes.
But you do see the problem, then. There's apparently a confusion.
No, Mr. Bender, my wife didn't know about the second and third loans. I hadn't told her.
Why not?
I want to make this clear. It's hard.
Yes, but it's very important.
You see, I always wanted to look... You might say I wanted to look good to her. Successful. A successful man. She's a very beautiful woman to me. I felt lucky. I wanted to do well for her. God never gave us any children, but I thought if I could at least... A good house, you know, comfort. If I could give her those things. And then when I opened business here, I got that first loan from Tony. Prospects looked very good. I thought this time I can make it. But I didn't. Some men have a knack for business, I guess. But I had to borrow from Tony again, and then again.
And you received a second and a third loan from Mr. Carnera.
Yes, but I didn't want her to know that I was failing again. I deposited the loan money out of town in different banks, so she wouldn't know. She wouldn't ask about it. She deserved so much better than I could give her.
How questions?
Mr. Logan, don't the people wish to cross-examine?
No, Your Honor. No questions.
Your Honor, I think the defense can rest until the final statement.
Very well, you may step down, Mr. Sand.
Your Honor, the people would like to call a rebuttal witness.
Yes, yes.
I call Mrs. Lucille Sand.
Your Honor, point of law. This is not allowed.
Mr. Logan, the court requires some clarification on that.
Your Honor, the defendant has committed perjury concerning these loans. His wife can establish that.
Your Honor, she is not allowed to testify by statute.
That's quite right, Mr. Logan. By statute, that is correct.
Respectfully, Your Honor, the statute's not complete.
Your Honor, may we approach the bench?
Mr. Bender, I think we'd better settle this matter on the record, eh?
A wife can testify against her husband if and only if he has threatened her life.
But he has never threatened her life.
Mr. Bender, let the people affirm.
Your Honor, from the same newspaper article that the defense introduced. I quote, "My husband broke in the door. First he aimed the gun at me. I thought he'd kill me. This constitutes a threat by action."
Your Honor, this is not necessarily a correct quote. This could be hearsay.
Your Honor, I have 3 affidavits of the newspaper reporters that state they correctly heard and quoted Mrs. Sand.
Call Monday.
Call Mrs. Lucille Sand.
Mrs. Lucille Sand.
I will have order.
You do solemnly swear that the testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. This you do under penalty of perjury.
I do.
Be seated.
May I remind you of your privilege not to incriminate yourself?
Mrs. Sand, your husband just testified that Mr. Anthony Carnera made 3 loans to him. And that you knew about the first. You did not know about the second. You did not know about the third loan. Is that true?
I don't remember. I don't know if he ever mentioned it to me or not.
Well, Mrs. Sand, your husband made the second deposit in a Los Angeles bank. Did he make the third deposit, Mrs. Sand? Or did you? Mrs. Sand, I want the truth. Mrs. Sand, do you know that there are some banks these days that keep a film record of every deposit made in a bank of every customer? Are you aware of that? They make a film record, Mrs. Sand. Now, are we going to find a record of your husband in this film, Mrs. Sand? I don't think so. You know why? Because he was in town. What about you? Did you make that third deposit? Mrs. Sand, did you make that third deposit? Now, I want the truth. Did you make it? You know what the penalty is for murder, Mrs. Sand?
Sand.
Did you deposit that third loan? Do you want me to show this film in court?
No.
Easy.
I'm so tired.
Do you want me to show this film in court, Mrs. Sand?
Please.
You're all right.
Sand, no.
The truth, Mrs. Sand.
I have to tell him I
Quiet.
can't do it anymore. I have to tell him you did it.
Quiet. I want the truth.
You planned it all. You did it.
Stop it!
You did it.
You stupid! It was perfect! You blew it, you stupid! Stupid woman! It's perfect. Killed it. Stupid.
see. People versus Weiner, People versus Tomac, Shinnicky, Ballard, Flynn, Sykes, and Smirkovich.
What about that, where's that pollution case?
Oh, no, that's Frank's.
It's Frank's?
Frank's.
All right. Listen, about
And that's mine. Now, Trav, you've got 4 assistant district attorneys and 4 little piles. Bye-bye.
Hey, Mark, about the Sidney Matthews case, I want a deposition on it. Do you have it?
Decided not to, Trav.
Decided not to? Sidney Matthews case?
Look, if you go fishing and get off my neck, I might. Otherwise, I might not ever.
Yes, I will. Thank you.
I'm
very
here.
much. Bye-bye.
Is that
No. Worms,
Not the same ones.
they've been very patient. Your camping gear is in your car. I know because I put it there myself. Have a good time, goodbye, and drive carefully.
Have a good time, goodbye, drive carefully.
That's
huh?
right.
Listen, if that's
Goodbye.
that... That's an important case.
Yes, I know. Goodbye.
All right, goodbye.
Hey, I was just coming to see you to say goodbye. I'm gonna go back home. I'm sorry if I gave you a rough time.
Forget it. Sam and his wife will be sentenced next week, and it's all over.
I'm not gonna stay for that. It's funny, but I don't much care anymore. The real thing for me was learning about my father, you know, realizing.
Realizing what?
The truth. He was a good man. I mean, you know, sitting there in court and hearing it out loud, things he did for people. He was a good, generous man.
Yeah, the truth. That's what it's all about.
Hey, let's do it.